Well, the New York Islanders have crushed the hopes and dreams of a team that was favored to beat them once again. And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I had the Islanders winning this round 2 series all the way. I did pick the Islanders to win in round 1 or in 7 games over the Pittsburgh Penguins. They won that one in 6. I did pick Boston in 7. But New York, they're the type of team, they just find ways to win. They don't do it pretty. It's just very good, simple hockey, and they're just very detail-oriented. And I mean, how about Barry Trotz? That guy is an unbelievable coach, best coach in the league, hands down, in my opinion. But the road's only going to get harder for the New York Islanders now, as they are going to take on the heavily favored, you would have to think, Tampa Bay Lightning. And people are thinking, well, the Islanders, they should have a little more expectations on them now. Come on, let's be honest. The Tampa Bay Lightning are the better team on paper, but as we've seen many times throughout this playoffs, paper doesn't matter, man. The Islanders could come in and win this series for all I know, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So let's get some numbers on these two teams. The Tampa Bay Lightning, their power play is just on fire these playoffs. They've been unbelievable, almost unstoppable. 41.7% so far through 11 games. Their penalty kill, that's a bit of a kink in the armor for them. 77.8%, goals for, 38, goals against 26. New York Islanders, they're not that big of a slouch in the power play department either, 28.1%. Their penalty kill, though, is very concerning, especially going up against Tampa's power play, 61.5%. It hasn't been very good, and they're going to have to rectify that if they want any chance of beating the Lightning. Goals for, 43, goals against, 33. Now, the Tampa Bay Lightning, where do they have the competitive edge? Well, the forward position, definitely. I would say they're more deep as far as offense goes. New York has a lot of guys that can play. They can put their fourth line out there against any line, but their fourth line isn't necessarily a big point producer, although they have been producing some points these playoffs, but maybe not quite as much as Tampa's fourth line would be known to be anyways. And for the Lightning, they do have the edge on D as well. I mean, obviously with Victor Hedman alone back there, that would probably tie them with the New York Islanders, if not make them a little bit better. And for New York, they have a good set of defensemen too, a good group of 6 there. I mean, they have that Adam Pelech, Ryan Pulock. I mean, those guys, it's pretty fun when they're out there together, having to hear a commentator get through those names. But nonetheless, names aside, those guys have been very steady. They've done everything that's been asked of them, if not more, in the playoffs defensively, and they're really good at shutting down other teams' top players. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Can they shut down their biggest challenge that they're going to face offensively as far as the Tampa Bay Lightning are concerned? The Tampa Bay Lightning do have the edge in goal also, in my opinion, as well. And even though Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov have both been pretty good throughout these playoffs, I don't think they're better than Vasilevsky. They obviously haven't played all the games. New York hasn't gone with one goalie to play all the games. They have had times where they've went back and forth just because of poor play or whatnot, and even an injury to Varlamov in Game 1 versus Pittsburgh. But as good as Varlamov's been throughout these stretch of games that he's played, I definitely have to still stick with Vasilevsky as being the better goalie. So the Lightning have the edge at forward, they have the edge on defense, and they have the edge in goal. So where don't they have an edge? Behind the bench. I definitely have to give the edge to Barry Trotz there. No slight to John Cooper. He's done a terrific job with the Tampa Bay Lightning, but come on, Barry Trotz is one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the league, for sure in my mind. And I mean, look at the team he has too. And no offense to the Islander players, they're playing well. They have some good players on that team, but come on, let's be honest. I mean, some of the teams they've played against probably, they look a little better on paper, but that's why I always say you got to play the games. Paper doesn't matter. And the New York Islanders, they have a superstar in Matt Barzal, and then they have, or at least a future superstar anyways, and then they have a lot of good players behind them. And they're a team that they play a style that works for them. They have a system, they stick to it, they have a game plan, they stick to it, and they don't deviate from it at all, and they have a complete buy-in from their whole team. There's no question about that, and that's the New York Islanders' biggest strength, is the way they play as a team, as a group of 5 guys on the ice at any given time. But for the New York Islanders, one thing that really concerns me, though, is the special teams battle. They could play a really good game. Heck, they could play a really good series 5-on-5 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they could lose just because they will probably never be able to win the special teams battle. I mean, you never know, but with the way Tampa's clicking along with their power play and the Islanders' penalty kill looking a little shaky at times throughout these playoffs, I mean, that could be a quick series just because of special teams alone. So if New York wants any chance of winning this series, they have to at least keep the special teams battle even. They got to stay out of the box. They got to keep the game 5-on-5 as much as possible, because the longer the game stays 5-on-5 and the least we have a special teams battle, that definitely favors the Islanders a little bit more, I think, because the way they play defense. Even though I don't want to say it favors the Islanders more. Maybe I should take that back. I mean, Tampa's really good 5-on-5 too, but come on, let's be honest. If you're New York, you want no part of that special teams battle really at all. Time for a prediction now. The Islanders have had a great run, but once again, I think it will come to an end at the hands of the Tampa Bay Lightning, just as it did last year in the bubble, although this time around, the Islanders will have to face the wrath of the Lightning fans, and the Lightning will have to face the wrath of the New York Islanders faithful. I just want to say this. Islander fans are one of the best fans in the league. They're so underrated, so loud. Like, I almost want to say their 12 or 13,000 they had in the building almost seemed like it was louder than Boston's 16 or 17,000 they had in their building. And that's saying a lot too. So kudos to Islanders fans. They're a great fan base. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to pick Lightning in 6 here. I think because Tampa, they're more deep offensively. I think at the end of the day, I could see New York maybe struggling to score, and that being their thing that ultimately does them in this series. I think Tampa's better in the special teams department as well. I think they could really potentially exploit New York there. But that's my thoughts on this series, guys. Please let me know what all of you think in the comment section below. Especially, I'd love to hear from you if you're a Tampa fan or a New York Islanders fan, and especially if you're an Islanders fan, how great has this run been for your team? 2 straight years in the third round. I'm assuming the Islanders and their fans get to enjoy this run to the third round a lot more this year than last year, just because, I mean, come on, let's be honest, it's a lot more exciting playing in front of a packed house than some empty building in a bubble and you're not allowed to do anything or leave your hotel or anything like that. So let me know all that and more in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe and share this video as always. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all again soon.